Session 4. Psychological Approaches to the Understanding of Human Behavior. Introduction. In the last study session, we came to realize that psychology is relevant to social work. The psychological approaches to understanding of human behavior, which will be discussed in this study session, helps us to recognize the various sources and origins of human behavior and the relevance of psychology to the practice of social work. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to 1. Discuss at least 5 psychological approaches to understand human behavior. Approaches to understand human behavior. By psychological approaches, we mean those psychological processes or methods of identifying the rationale behind a particular behavior emitted by an organism. Helgard et al., 1979. Such approaches or processes enables us to have an insight into the why and the how behavior or response emitted by an individual, Mujunyola 1998 and Burning 1998. Therefore, the behavior of an individual or person can therefore be understood through one or combination of the following approaches. 1. Psychoanalytic approach. This approach considers the behavior of an individual as arising from the unconscious motivations, instincts, or drives. Thus, according to Freud 1949 and other psychoanalytic psychologists, most of the maladaptive behavior of an individual arise from the repression of early childhood emotional responses such as sexual and aggressive drives. This may find themselves expressed unconsciously during adulthood. 2. Neurological approach. The approach views a particular behavior as a result of the activities going on in the brain. Helgard et al. 1997 noted that various abnormal behavior observed in some people arise from any damage or disturbance to the brain cells. Therefore, neurological defects, hormonal imbalance, abnormal electrical discharge in the brain, overexcitation of nerve cells, diseases affecting the brain, for example, measles, meningitis, etc. Abnormal growth in the brain, that is brain tumor, and injury to the brain can bring about changes in human behavior. 3. Structuralistic approach. This approach considers human behavior as arising from sensory stimulation. The approach holds that human behavior results from exposure to sensory stimulation within the environment and report made by the individual affected. Thus, an individual feels cold because of exposure to cold weather or feels pain because of injury or disease. However, it is only the affected individual that can report what he feels. 4. Behaviorist approach. Behavior under this approach is viewed to be a reaction of the individual in the environmental stimuli. Thus, any behavior is a response to a stimuli within the environment. For example, a mother can react to the loss of her child by weeping. Weeping is a reaction to the loss. If we ask why is she weeping or behaving in this specific way, she can simply say she is weeping because of the loss of her child. 5. Functionalist approach. According to this approach, an individual engages in a particular behavior because of the function the behavior will serve him or the gain it will bring to him. For instance, a student who has not prepared well for a test may develop unusual malaria fever with severe shivering or tremor of the hand to escape the test. 6. Cognitive or Gestalt approach. Cognition refers to those mental processes such as reasoning, thinking, imagination, value judgment, and perception. Gestalt, on the other hand, refers to a configuration which forms a unified whole and have properties which are not found in any of its parts. Based on this approach, the behavior of any individual can be determined in two ways. First, it can be determined by how he reasons, thinks, gives judgment or value things, how he imagines things, and his interpretations of events, situations, or happenings in his environment. For instance, a student who imagines himself capable of succeeding will definitely succeed in an examination. Second, the background determines the present behavior. Thus, if a child witnessed violent behavior in childhood, he or she may display aggressive behavior in adulthood. Study session summary. In this study session, we learned why behavior varies from time to time. We stated that several reasons can be given on why the behavior of some people can be attributed to unconscious motives, drives, or conflicts, and that the behavior of some people are due to neurological factors, defects, such as damages or diseases in the brain, or exposure to sensory stimulation, or rewards or gains that will derive from behaving in such manner. Furthermore, the behavior of some may be due to the way they think or reason, perceive things, or the interpretation they give the event. It may also be a result of their diverse background. That ends study session 4. Thanks for listening.